Radar.
All right, welcome into On the Radar, where we take a look at various stories. What?
On the radar?
Or off the radar, excuse me. Where we take a look at various stories going on in sports that kind of do grab bag style here. So going to start off with the new bowl game in Los Angeles. Jimmy Kimmel is now a title sponsor of an inaugural bowl game in Los Angeles. The Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl will be played December 18th on ABC. He's a part of the ABC network, obviously. That's where his show is. It'll be at the Rams SoFi Stadium and will feature the number 1 selection from the Mountain West Conference against the number 5 selection from the Pac-12 Conference. And Kimmel said in making the announcement last night on his show, this is not a joke. This is a real bowl game named after me, so mark your calendar. So now we have the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl.
Yeah, I think Jimmy Kimmel, of anyone, is definitely jumping in on making fun of this and how many they are that he can get one. And look, it's good for ABC. It's good for cross-promotion. Jimmy Kimmel sponsoring this bowl is better than, and look, in the top 5, I have 5 ridiculous bowls based on this. But Jimmy Kimmel's better than half the companies that could promote a bowl because he'll do a bunch of stuff up to it. He'll do goofy stuff that's going to do well on YouTube. Some of the best stuff that Jimmy Kimmel does is around sports. He did a great, and I encourage you to look it up, with Boston celebrities during Deflategate with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon and Chris Evans and Steven Tyler. I mean, just all these Boston celebrities he got to do the Deflategate video. And his sports stuff's really good. So I think this will be good for that bowl game because it's better than some company that's going to come and go that decides they're going to just dump money into this. Yeah. Jimmy Kimmel's better for it. So
yeah, I'd much rather have the Jimmy Kimmel than the Jimmy Fallon Bowl. The Jimmy Fallon Bowl would be too giggly, but yeah, that's going to be interesting and unique, that's for sure. So Los Angeles, you've got the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl coming your way. So at the tail end of the last Off the Radar, I told you all about the Suns and 4 fan, the Suns fan who beat the mess out of a Nuggets fan who was just apparently a jerk. He had poured, it turns out the Nuggets fan had poured like a beer or water on said Suns fan. Said Suns fan turns around, they kind of jostle before eventually Suns fan takes over and whips this dude, like whips him badly. So Devin Booker had put out, a thing about Suns and 4, and Suns and 4s become like their rallying cry. Well, Booker said earlier this week he was looking for Suns and 4 fan, and he found him because the guy's been making like the radio rounds. He was on with Portnoy and all of that. The guy's name's Nick McKellar, and apparently he's going to receive a signed jersey from Devin Booker and tickets to a conference finals game. So is this like the greatest story of a fight in the stands of all time? Because everybody usually gets arrested or embarrassed. This guy's like, he's gone from nobody to like finals tickets near the court.
Yeah, I think the first fight I ever remember seeing in the stands, I was at a Dolphins-Bills game in 1993 or so, and maybe 94. And a drunk Bills fan and a drunk Dolphins fan got into it. It was 2 fat guys in tank tops. And I remember thinking, like, that's not gonna end well for anybody. That's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened. And now here this guy he's going to get good seats. No, I guarantee you, Devin Booker's not going to give him cheap seats.
Oh, no.
He's going to get good seats.
Oh, for sure. For sure, he's going to get some really good seats.
I didn't realize this on the Suns, by the way, that they did win in 4. I did not. I guess I didn't register that. And so the Chris Paul protocol, you couldn't have come at a good time. You couldn't come at a better time because they might not play for another 3 or 4 days or so.
Well, I mean, look, the Clippers won last night, and
2-1, what, 3?
Yeah, 3-2 there, and I suspect that the Jazz will even that up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of these freak fights lately, right? With the Paul brothers, they've been in boxing rings with the likes of Floyd Mayweather and a couple former UFC guys. Well, you wonder how long this trend's going to continue. There's big money, obviously, to be made, but another fight's apparently in the works, and it's another boxing match. Oscar De La Hoya. Oh, God. He's been talking about coming back for a while now. He will compete this summer for the first time in 13 years in an exhibition match against former UFC champion Vitor Belfort. The match will take place September 18th. They will wear 12-ounce gloves, and it will be another one of these Triller exhibition events. These are not really my thing. Vitor Belfort, last time I saw him, he was old and washed up and, walking his way out of the UFC. De La Hoya, I mean, he hadn't fought in 13 years. I'm sure there will be an audience for this, and they'll also, put things on the card to make it, more appealing, kind of like they did with that last event. But just once, I want to see a boxer get in an octagon. Why is it that it's always the MMA fighter going into the boxing ring? And I get why, is because the boxer would get destroyed because he would get kicked in the leg and have no idea how to respond to that, or in the head. He'd get kicked in the head. But I don't know. I'm kind of bored with if you want to get my interest in Oscar De La Hoya or Floyd Mayweather, I don't want to see them fight a non-boxer or an amateur boxer. I want to see them do something interesting. So put them in an octagon. I would pay for that. If Floyd Mayweather jumped in the octagon, it doesn't have to be like the champion of the UFC, but let it be Tyrone Woodley or someone like that. I would watch that. I don't have no interest, though, in the exhibition boxing because it's so staged, basically.
Yeah, it made me think of when Conor McGregor was going to fight Floyd Mayweather.
Yes.
And SNL did a thing, and they were imitating Conor McGregor, and the bit was, he's like, okay, how many kicks do I get? And they're like, you get no kicks. But if you, I've never even thought about it that way. You put it the other way around. Yeah, I'd watch that. I'd watch Oscar De La Hoya try to figure out how to kick somebody.
Have him in he gets in a submission hold, have to try to figure out how to get out of that. But instead, it's just pop, 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 pop.
With heavier gloves than probably they normally fight with, so no one's. I mean, I did see Floyd Mayweather. He had a knot on his eye, which I'd never seen before, because he's old. And Paul got him a few times.
Well, and Paul's twice as big as he is, too.
No, absolutely.
And that's the thing, too. The UFC guys use way lighter gloves. Way lighter gloves. And so these boxers have the big... I know they're not totally, harmless, obviously, because you still get knocked out. But I like to see some of these boxers take some shots with the lighter gloves on. I don't think it would be as impressive as the boxing exhibition side of things has been so far. This was a bizarre story. Vince Wilfork, longtime Patriots lineman, had his Super Bowl rings stolen last month. Turns out it was his own son. DeAndre Holmes Wilfork was arrested a couple weeks ago. Property theft of greater than $300,000. His son took 2 Super Bowl rings from 2004 and 2014, 2 AFC championship rings, a college football championship ring from his time at Miami, multiple necklaces, bracelets, earrings. And he had discovered this when they were getting ready to move. His son was arrested, but man, it's not family trouble you want right there. And sad that it would have to come to that for the son to have to go and steal Pop's stuff.
I always think it's sad when you hear about a player sells his Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
In this case, it's stolen, but sells a Super Bowl ring or something like that, and because they're struggling financially.
It's terrible. But that was just kind of a unique, sad, sort of interesting story there. But you see that too often. The NBA is going to introduce a new ball at the Draft Combine, brought to you by Wilson Sporting Goods. The new official game ball will be used starting next season, or starting with the 2021-22 season was unveiled today. The reason why that's significant is not only is it new basketball, but prior to this Wilson agreement, they had used Spalding for 37 years in the NBA. So this will be the first time they've had a non-Spalding official league basketball in nearly 40 years. So I just find that kind of unique.
I didn't know if it was Spalding, Wilson, or whoever, but that is a change. Okay?
Yep, it'll be first use of it will be at the Combine. So Jared Butler, or not Jared Butler, he's not at the Combine, is he?
I think Davion Mitchell
is probably going to be able to get some of that. Also, saw that some win totals were released for the Big 12. How about Kansas at 1.5?
Wow.
Kansas at 1.5. Texas Tech 4.5 wins. Over under.
Under.
K-State 5.5.
Over.
West Virginia 6.5.
Oh, I don't know.
TCU 7.5, as is Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Texas, they've got it 8.
Under.
Iowa State at 9.5.
Under.
Oklahoma at 11.
Under.
I'd go under 2.
Yeah.
And
only because that's just hard. Even if you're great, it's hard.
Yeah, I mean, I think they did a really good job here because, Iowa State at 9.5, that's. I mean, I think they hit the nail on the head for all of these teams. So that leaves one team, and Baylor 5.5.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, that's what we
5.5. Yep.
I'll take the over.
Yep.
That's kind of what we discussed too.
Yeah, I'll take the over right now.
Yeah. Yep. So those are some of the latest totals from Vegas. So yeah, they've got the Bears at 5.5. Obviously, you either think they're going to be a bowl team or you don't, and that's why they're getting you to bet there on that. And just a couple more notes tonight: NHL playoffs. Game 3, Lightning and Islanders. Paul, are you super into the Lightning still? The Lightning experience?
Yeah, the opener.
I've watched it, but they evened it up the other day. They played. Here's the thing about this series. The other night, fight 19 seconds in. Fight 2.5 minutes in, fight 6.5 minutes in, fight 8.5 minutes in, fight like 13.5 minutes in, and then fight as they went to the end of the period. And they had then they had kerfuffles, not really fights for the rest of the game. But the Lightning took it to the Islanders the other day and knocked their goalie out. Although I don't understand enough of the rules in hockey. It looked to me like the Lightning guy got shoved into the goalie and then got called for goalie interference. But it might have been just.
I don't know if it makes a difference. Obviously, I don't know about you get shoved into it or not. It's like pass interference or running into the punter.
Then that goalie for the Islanders went out, and the Lightning went on a barrage and won that game. And so I think it was 4-2. They're like, yeah, I'm into it.
Yep. So Lightning tonight at the Islanders. It'll be 6 o'clock. Is this on Central? I can't tell or not. 7 o'clock start time. That series is tied at 1 apiece tonight in the NBA. Just one game. Brooklyn looks to close it out and book themselves a trip to the Eastern Conference Finals, taking on Milwaukee. That should be an incredible game. Nets up in that one 3-2. That'll be 7:30 start time on ESPN. And I will make mention of the sports book that was putting out the Big 12 wins. That was the Caesar Sports Book by William Hill. But the top teams are the same ones that you would think of: Alabama, Clemson, same old. But that 5.5 for Baylor will be
11 plus for those.
Yeah, Alabama, Clemson are both at 11.5.
Ohio State maybe next.
Ohio State, Oklahoma at 11. Georgia at 10.5. North Carolina, Coastal Carolina, and Cincinnati at 10.
Okay.
So those are some of the top bets for the Caesar Sportsbook by William Hill. But I'd go over on that Baylor 5.5. I'm saying bowl game. So I would take over there, but definitely do not take my advice if you're risking your own money. But those are a few stories that are off the radar.
All right, when we come back, we'll have the 5 o'clock hour. We'll update the U.S. Open. But at 5:30, we'll get a live report